Hello and welcome back to Miss Finance. Today we're going to have a look at inventory and we're going to start off with terminology around inventory. So let's take a look at managing inventory to begin with. So organisations basically need to make sure that they have an appropriate level of inventory or stock of various materials so that they are there when they are needed. Now, if they hold too much stock or inventory, then there's a risk with the storage of that stock. So that stock might go out of date, it might get damaged in some way. If you've got too much stock, then you've obviously got to find a place to store it. So you might have additional costs for storage, or heat and light and building costs, etc., and somebody to manage stock or look after the stock if it's high valued stock. So there's all kind of costs included with keeping stock or inventory inside of a business. So let's have a look at the terminology around stock. So we have something called inventory buffer. So this is the extra amount of inventory that is held as a contingency. So in effect, this is a reserve. So that's just in case things don't go to plan or there's a danger that inventory might run out at some point. So the next one we have is lead time. So this is the difference between when an organisation places a purchase order. So they send a purchase order off to the supplier that says, okay, for this amount I want X and I want, 30. So they'll want a quantity, etc. So that goes off to the supplier. And then the time it takes for the supplier to receive this and then actually send the goods to us is the lead time. So if I know, for example, that next week I'm going to have a large order from a customer who always orders from us, then I need to make sure that I have stock and inventory in place to cover their needs. However, if I know that my lead time is a week, then I need to make sure that I was looking at that information prior week or at least a couple of days before this point to make sure that that stock or inventory is there in time because of this lead time of 1 week, for instance. So reorder level is our next term. So basically, if you've got inventory stored, then you might create this reorder level. So if this drops, say, to 500 quantity, then when it hits this point, then we're going to order some more stock. So this might differ company to company. So some companies might have a reorder level of 200, or it might be 50, or it could even be 100,000 depending on what piece of stock that is. So you could have parts that are used in building something, you might have, for instance, materials that is used to create a piece of furniture. So it just depends on exactly what item of inventory you're looking at. So let's look at some other terminology. So we also have something called reorder quantity. So this is the amount, so the quantity that we order each time. So instead of looking at inventory and saying, okay, we need 200 amounts of that item this time, and next time we might need 50, next time we might need 100, they might set a reorder quantity so that every time that you order it, you know that you're ordering, say, 100 pieces or something. So to make sure that you don't get this confused between the reorder level. So the reorder level, again, is the amounts that we wait for stock to drop down to until we order again. But the reorder quantity is the amount of that stock or inventory that you're reordering. Next, we have something called maximum inventory level. So this will be the maximum inventory or stock that we hold at any one time. So again, where we have a limited amount of space available for stock, or we know that we're not going to get enough customer orders, or we don't need that much stock past a certain level, then we might say once inventory levels hit, say, 500, then we do not order anymore. So if you've got a system where, again, every week you're ordering 100 pieces, then we might say, no, we've hit the maximum inventory level, so stop ordering. We don't need to order anymore. So let's have a look at some of the inventory calculations. For reorder level, this is going to be the average usage times the average lead time plus inventory buffer. Next we have the maximum inventory level, which equals the inventory buffer plus the maximum reorder quantity. And then finally we have something called the reorder quantity. So this, again, is something decided by management. And we have the minimum reorder quantity, which equals average usage times by the average lead time. And we have the maximum reorder quantity, which is the maximum inventory level less the inventory buffer. So the final thing that I just want to go over is something called the economic order quantity, or EOQ. So this is the optimum, most economic amount to order. Now, in order to work this out, I'm just going to make this a bit smaller as well. There's a couple of things that we need to know, and one of them is annual usage. We need to know ordering cost. We need to know inventory holding cost. And there's a couple of different formulas with this one here, but let's go into what the annual usage is. So this is just how many units are used each year. So, for example, 5,000 units. Ordering cost is just the amount that it costs to place an order. So this is things like, admin costs. You might have an additional billing cost on top of that. Now, the inventory holding cost is, in effect, what it costs to hold one single unit per year. So that's based on things like warehousing, insurance, etc. So we can work out this economic order quantity. So the formula for this is this. So it's the square root of 2 times annual usage times ordering cost divided by inventory holding cost. A tiny bit bigger. So if, for example, we have 5,000 units and these admin costs are, let's just say, £20 for argument's sake, then what we'd have is the square root of 2 times by 5,000, because that's the annual usage, times by the ordering cost, which is £20, and then divided by whatever the inventory holding cost is. So just imagine this is £3 per year. Put £3 there. So the optimum, most economic amount to order, or economic order quantity, would be so that gives us 258.20 units. So I hope you found this video useful. I'm going to create another video just around a few examples, just to give you a better understanding of this. But if you did like the video, please do hit the like button because it helps with the YouTube algorithm. Consider subscribing, and I shall see you on the next video.